Scaling web performance requires reliable DNS management that's both simple and effective. That's where Vultr DNS comes into play. Hi, I'm Ridhu Swaroop, a developer advocate here at Vultr, and I am excited to guide you through how Vultr DNS can optimize your web hosting and ensure that your applications run smoothly. In this tech talk, we'll start by exploring the basics of DNS, what it is, how it works, why is it crucial for your infrastructure. Then we'll dive into different types of DNS records from A records to MX and NS records and explain how each plays a role in your domain setup. Finally, we'll talk about how you can configure your domain registrar settings with Vultr DNS to ensure everything is set up correctly and optimized for performance. So let's get started. Let's start by understanding what DNS is and why it's so crucial. DNS stands for Domain Name System. It essentially functions as the phone book of the internet, translating domain names like example.com into IP addresses so that computers can understand them. Without DNS, users wouldn't be able to find their websites by using their name. Imagine having to type IP addresses every time you want to access a website. Now, why is DNS so important for hosting and performance? Vultr DNS is a solution designed to optimize and simplify this process. It not only translates domain names into IP addresses but also secures critical domain services. One of the biggest advantages of using Vultr DNS is its cost effectiveness. It provides a reliable DNS service without the need of an expensive or complex solution. Plus, Vultr's DNS service comes with a user-friendly interface, allowing you to manage your DNS effortlessly. No matter your level of technical expertise, you can add, update, and manage DNS records quickly, helping ensure smooth operations for your web application. Now that we understand what Vultr DNS is and why it's beneficial, let's take a deeper dive into the types of DNS records you will be working with. These records define how different types of DNS queries are handled, and each one serves a specific purpose. Firstly, we have A records. An A record maps a domain name to an IPv4 address. This is the most common DNS record you will encounter, and it essentially tells the world where your website is hosted. For example, when you type in example.com, the A record points to the IP address of the server hosting that website. Next, there is AA record, which maps the domain to an IPv6 address. As the internet moves towards IPv6 for its larger address space, this record will become increasingly important for handling larger users and devices. Then we have CNAME records. A CNAME record is used to map an alias domain to a canonical domain. For instance, if you have www.example.com and want it to point to example.com, you would set up a CNAME record so that any request to www.example.com is redirected to example.com. The MX record is crucial for handling email services. It specifies the mail server responsible for accepting email messages on behalf of your domain. For example, if you are setting up email for your domain, your MX records tell the world which server will receive the emails. Another important record is TXT record. TXT record allows you to store text-based information for your domain. They are often used for things like domain verification, for services like Google, or security purposes like SPF, which protects us from email spoofing scams. Finally, the name server record, also known as NS record. It tells the internet which DNS servers are authoritative for your domain. When you set up Vultr DNS for your domain, you will configure these NS records to point to Vultr's name servers, ensuring your domain is managed by Vultr's infrastructure. These are the core DNS records you will encounter when configuring your domain, and understanding them is key to ensuring that your website and services run smoothly. So how do we set all this up? Once you have understood the type of records, the next step is to configure your domain registrar settings. This step connects your domain with Vultr DNS. First, you will need to visit your domain registrar portal. This is typically where you purchase your domain from. Once you are logged in, you will look for the DNS settings or the name server settings for your domain. To point your domain to Vultr DNS, you will need to provide Vultr's name servers ns1.vultr.com and ns2.vultr.com. These two name servers ensure that your domain's DNS records are managed by Vultr DNS and they'll direct traffic to correct IP address for your domain. It's important to note that DNS changes can take some time to propagate through the internet. Usually, it takes from anywhere from few minutes to 48 hours for these updates to take effect globally. However, once the changes are complete, your domain will be fully managed by Vultr DNS and you'll be able to access the powerful features we discussed earlier: quick DNS record management, secure services, and optimized performance through distributed Anycast servers. Next up, we have a demonstration in which we are going to see how you can configure your domain with Vultr DNS service to manage your domain more securely and efficiently. To begin with our demonstration, first we will navigate to the Vultr DNS service and add an example domain to see what other options do we get from Vultr. So here let's go in the network, select DNS, here I will click add domain. Let's type in a domain, let's say text.xyz. I do not have any Vultr instance as of now, so I will give it a random IPv4 address. Now let's add the domain. Here, as you can see, the domain has been added to the DNS. You can use this pencil stick to edit an existing DNS record. You can also use this plus action where you can add a particular type of record. Let's say if you want to add a mail service record, you can add an MX record. And Vultr also provides zone settings. The SOA record in DNS specifies information about the domain zones such as primary DNS server, admin contact, serial number. It helps manage DNS zone transfers and ensure proper functioning of DNS resolution. As you can see, we also have DNSSEC settings, which is also known as Domain Name System Security Extensions. This adds a security layer to the DNS by using digital signatures to verify the authenticity and integrity of DNS responses. Going back to manage records, you can also delete a particular record by selecting that record and deleting it. Now, if I want to delete this DNS domain overall, I will move to this option and select remove domain. As you can see, my domain has been removed. Now what if I want to attach a domain name to my Vultr instance? So first I will go to the compute menu. I will deploy a server. Here I have selected optimize cloud compute, a location near me. I will select an OS, an instance plan, some additional features. Let's go ahead and deploy this server. You have to wait a minute or two for the server to get deployed. As you can see, now my server is in the running state. So let's go ahead and connect a domain with our Vultr instance within just a few steps. So I will navigate back to the network section and select DNS. Here I will click add domain. I will provide my domain. Let's say my domain is example.xyz. Here, as you can see, my cloud instance is visible. So you now just have to select it and add the domain. And now your domain is connected to your Vultr server. This is how easy it is to manage your domain records with Vultr DNS service. This is it for the demonstration. To recap, Vultr DNS offers a simple, cost-effective and reliable solution for managing your domain names and improving web performance. In this Tech Talk, we explored the basic concepts of DNS, different types of DNS records, and how to configure your domain registrar to use Vultr DNS. By using Vultr DNS, you are ensuring that your domain services are secure, fast, and easy to manage. I hope this Tech Talk gave you a solid understanding of how Vultr DNS can optimize your hosting setup. Thank you for joining today's Tech Talk. I hope to see you in the next one.